Good evening, everyone. I welcome you to this first council meeting of Oberon Council for calendar year 2026. This meeting will be live streamed via Teams webinar facilities. I'd ask everyone to turn your phones off, put them on silent or flight mode so that they don't interrupt the meeting, please. Recordings of council meetings or parts thereof cannot be copied, recorded, reproduced, reused or transmitted without the prior written consent of the General Manager. The meeting is being recorded and will be made publicly available on Council's website. Persons attending the meeting should refrain from making any defamatory statements. As this is the first meeting to which the new Code of Meeting Practice will apply, we need several issues require clarification. As the Mayor, I do not require councillors and persons in the gallery to stand when I enter. A new Mayor or Acting Mayor may have a different view in the future. Councillors have the option of standing or not standing when speaking. In respect to items of business where there is a recommendation, the following will occur. A, the Mayor or Acting Chairperson who's sitting in this seat will read the recommendation in full. The Mayor or Acting Chairperson will ask for a motion. A councillor can propose a motion as per the recommendation or a motion with alternate wording. If a motion in the business papers has been proposed by a councillor, then after the Mayor has read the motion, the Mayor will ask the councillor to move the motion and that councillor will obviously need a seconder. Unless council moves into committee of the whole, then after a motion is moved and seconded, the mover will speak, then the seconder will speak. Other councillors will then speak once on the issue. The mover will have a right of reply and then there will be a vote. If a point of order is raised, then councillors must stop speaking until the point of order is determined. Acknowledgement of country. Council acknowledges this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri, Gundungurra and Darug people and respects the history and culture of the elders both past and present. I now ask Father Owen Gibbons to do the prayer and I would to form the prayer, and I would ask anyone wishing to be absent from the chambers during the prayer is welcome to do so. No apology or requirement to declare an interest is required during this period of the meeting.
We pray. Precious God, we pray for our councillors and those who assist them this first meeting and beyond this afternoon, and indeed every day. We thank you for their time and energy given for the benefit of our communities. We pray for them as they discuss and reflect upon the issues before them. Guide their deliberations. May they reflect with wisdom and discuss with courtesy, all for the best outcomes and benefits of our Oberon and surrounding communities. Hear our prayer, loving God. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, they have to. Item 4 is record of attendance. I note that all councillors are present and as are all staff members in attendance. Item 5 is declarations of interest. I ask, are there any declarations of interest? I will note one in relation to item 14.1. It is a non-significant potential conflict of duty. As I'm an appointed representative by Oberon Council to the Upper Macquarie County Council creating a Central Tablelands Weeds Authority. One of the parties will lodge an ROI. There is an exemption in this case for under the conflict of interest provisions. However, believe that there could be a perception of a conflict if the Central Weeds Authority was appointed. My knowledge to ask and answer questions may be of benefit to other councils in the item, and as this is non-significant, and a conflict of duty, I'm entitled to disclose it and remain in the room to participate in discussion while I'm abstaining from the vote, which is what I intend to do, and has been similarly what I did in November 2025. Councillor Graham?
I also have a non-pecuniary less than significant interest with item 14.1 confidential for civil reasons to the mayor.
Yes, Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I'm just noting that I have a non-pecuniary less than significant issue with 11.1 and 11.2 being the chair of the Glassman's Law Committee.
Okay, that's noted. I think there are appointments. Is there a conflict? Councillor Patrician, right? Okay, no problem. Okay. All right, we note those declarations of interest. Move to item 6, confirmation of minutes, the ordinary meeting of the 16th of December 2025. The recommendation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of December 2025 be confirmed. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor Leverett, thank you. Councillor Hayden?
Yes, the motion as per written and nothing to add. Thank you.
Councillor Leverett. Any other discussion on this point? Put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go to item 7, mayoral minute and report. The recommendation is that report item 9.01 is received as information. I note one amendment which has been raised previous today. On the 23rd of December, I did receive correspondence from Grimmer, and that should be noted in the report. I will move. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Graham, thank you. And discussion, Councillor? Yes, Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I just was wondering if I could get a little clarification around the 18th of December meeting with Andrew Riggs and then on to the 20th of January with the complex working party and briefing around the lease for the Oberon.
So I have had some notes on the meeting with Andrew Riggs. They will be on the council portal to look at. Sorry, what was the second one?
The 20th of January with both the Oberon Sports Complex Working Party meeting and the briefing around the lease for the Oberon Sport Complex. Just if I can get any update on that that's available.
So the meeting on the 20th was basically a meeting of the working party in which we reviewed 2 documents, the management agreement and the lease. And we agreed on the form of the documents that we'd received. They were sent back to the solicitors and they were provided to the Leagues Club the next week, as per my email to the Leagues Club. And on the other one was what, the 23rd, was it?
It was the 20th as well. It's just in relation to the lease and the complex working party.
Yeah, that's what happened. They went back to the lawyers with some changes because they hadn't reflected everything that they considered, and then those documents came back and they were sent to the Leagues Club. I understand they're still with the Leagues Club and may have had some meetings with staff, but that's where they are at the moment.
Okay, and on the 22nd of December, I just wondered if I could get some clarification around what SEGRA is. It's just under correspondence.
Thank you, Councillor Hayden. I asked the same question the other day. So I have been invited to a meeting at Lithgow on it. We'll provide that to all councillors because I'm also trying to understand what the agenda is for the meeting, the proposed meeting at Lithgow. We haven't been very successful at this stage, and I was going to confer with some other mayors to find out some more information. I haven't had a chance to do that.
Okay, and just for the last one around the 27th, and I note that you have had correspondence from the Rationalist Society of Australia.
Yes, we have received a letter from that. I can't remember the full content of it, but because I think it involved our decision to retain the prayer and how they did not agree with that and thought it was discriminatory. That was the gist of it. I can give you a copy of the letter if you like.
If you could put it on the portal for all councillors, maybe that might be okay. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Oh, we all got a copy. Yeah, thanks. We all got a copy. Sorry, you have been sent it.
Oh,
I
I haven't seen that one, sorry.
was videoed on it.
Sorry?
I was on it, on their letter.
Okay. Any other discussion on the mayoral minute? Councillor McCarthy, is that you just changing your glasses or you're saying something?
Randomly on.
Sorry. All right.
If I need to.
If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We go to 8, notice of the motion. 8.1 is training courses for councillors. The motion is that a council workshop or training course be arranged on council's powers and responsibilities under various environmental legislation. Councillor Tucker, you're moving the motion.
Yes,
You have a second. Councillor Levis, Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I know in the previous term and the current term, we've all received a question about what training we would like to undertake or what we feel that we need. And on a number of occasions, I have responded that I would like this training as set out in that motion. I believe it's about 6 times that I have made that request, a couple of times verbally, a number of times by email. And I've not received any response to any of those requests. And that's why I felt that my only option left was to put in a notice of motion to at least try to get an answer. I note the GM comments at the bottom of that page. I have looked at the hit the ground running webinars. None of those cover the issues that I am wanting to get some training on. There is an existing councillor training budget, and that's what I would be proposing would be appropriate to use. It partly comes about as a result of many years ago, the then director and I attended a session about the requirements under the EP&A Act. And the conclusion out of that was that this council was a long way short of complying with those requirements, and that we were seriously exposed if and when something went wrong. So that's why I would like to undertake this. I'm not suggesting that is still the case, but I want to be clear about which projects and which activities have to have formal assessments and what the correct processes are in the way of public exhibition and approvals and comments. So the motion is about our role as councillors to ensure that the organisation is meeting its legal obligations. If the motion is unsuccessful, then I am still requesting that I personally be able to attend training along those lines. I'm happy to go off to wherever that might be to undertake that training, but I thought it appropriate, given that I was putting in a notice, that I do it in a way that any councillors who are interested would be able to attend. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, I think as councillors we need to be able to make informed decisions, and this is a fairly complex area. It's a very evolving area. So I concur with Councillor Gunn. I wouldn't mind doing a very similar course.
The Chair. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I've actually looked at this a couple of times. I think read the environment. Maybe, we can all learn a little bit more from time to time. And I think, but I mainly only think the cost of the courses, or maybe we can work something out. But I think I understand that we've got the hit the ground running and all that stuff. But maybe this could add on to that.
I've got a couple of questions. Sorry, Councillor Hayden and Councillor Trimbath. Sorry.
I cannot support the motion. And as we've talked, you mentioned the hit the ground running, so I won't go over that. But we've also had extensive onboarding. To March, and we had Crennan Legal come in. It sort of raised questions to me. Do you have any examples of each of those bullet points where you, in your opinion, we have fell short of our duties as a council when making decisions at the moment. You don't have to answer, I can keep going. I'm raising the question, maybe you want to answer it after. What is the community benefit? What is the cost estimate to our ratepayer source of funding and stuff that we said from the training budget? But from my recollection, that's not a very big budget and it's pretty well used. And the notice of motion piece of giving someone a job that maybe a lot of, so staff effort is going to have to go into this and identify with a report back to council. The training is specialised and would have to be tailored, require various trainers, presenters with areas of specialty, and the cost is not possible within our budget. So it's sending someone off to do a job, use their valuable time, and we come back with that, well, it just costs too much, it doesn't exist, it'd have to be developed. And I'm not sure if you know how much work goes into developing training, but it's not just one slide. There's many elements behind that. And the other thing is it's an unintended consequence, and I don't think you probably meant it, but I found it insulting that you believe I need more training to make decisions. I've never been challenged when I see something in our papers to investigate something further on my own. And I wouldn't undertake the training. So you're not saying it's mandatory, but that was what I took out of that notice of motion.
I'll go to councillor Hayden, then I go to councillor.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Councillor Tucker for putting forth this motion. While councillors have access to the Office of Local Government Hit the Ground Running webinars, they don't cover the statutory requirements that councillors need to understand around specific acts, the Protection of the Environment Act, the EPA Act, what our regulatory requirements and governance responsibilities are in relation to the planning department and health and community, that all come under those particular acts, and council does have a responsibility with some of them. So I'm happy to support Councillor Tucker's motion. I would like to strengthen it a little bit more if he's open to a brief amendment, which is only very minor. I would like something around the motion as it is, that councillor workshop or training course be arranged on council's powers and responsibilities under various environmental legislation. And then I would like another second part that states arrange an independent statutory governance workshop facilitated by an external expert in New South Wales for local government law and environment regulation. That's a portion that I think needs to be in that part of the motion so that we can get this sourced externally and they give the training. That's just something I would like to have additional to that.
Councillor O'Connor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'd just like to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Before we move on, Mr. Mayor, you've got a.
I've got an amendment. Have you got a second?
Well, I was asking if they would put that in, the portion around having an external.
I would decline that as part of the motion itself. I think that's a how to go about it can be discussed as we get closer to it if it happens. But I don't think it needs to be part of it.
I won't move it as a separate amendment. I'll just leave it as that.
Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And through you, I'd like to thank our General Manager for organising the training last week on the new model code of conduct with Kath. I know it's a very expensive exercise. It was a wonderful training session. And therefore, I won't be supporting the motion on the basis that, to me, if we're going to have it, we've had a lot of training. If we're going to have any more training, it should be directed at the high risk areas. And I would think over the last 2 months, it's become apparent the high risk areas in this council are social media policy, anti-bullying, and the use of internet and email. And so I would say if we can raise some funds, but I know that we can't, but if we could raise some funds, they would be the high risk areas I'd be targeting. But thank you.
Thank you. I've got a couple of questions, if I could. The notice of motion is written, to me, covers a lot of areas because we've got, if I go bullet 1, this is EPA Act requirements before commencing projects, and that could be road projects, could be sporting complexes, could be sewage treatment plants, could be all sorts of projects. So the ambit of that is very wide, and that's why I'm concerned about the cost of training. Then we've got bullet 2, requirements to obtain relevant performance permits before carrying out works in waterways. Well, that will include DPIE, fisheries, and who else, I'm not sure. So I'm assuming that can't be given by an EPA person, but has to be given by someone else. Then we go to bullet 3, requirements for assessments to be provided as part of development applications. Well, that's more a planning issue, I suppose, and that could, depending on what the development application is, could cover a multitude of things, because if it relates to buildings, but if it also relates to building dams or doing other works, it could then it can go into the fisheries or the EPA areas. Then it's the 4th bullet point is EPA requirements for permits, approvals, monitoring, reporting, etc., relating to council's water, sewage and waste treatment operations. Well, we're building a new sewage treatment plant. If just staff have been all through this in relation to building the new plant with consultants. I suppose the question to me is, why do we all need to be trained on that when we have experts doing it? And it's just being done in relation to building a new sewage treatment plant. And the last one, this one seems to go towards a notice of motion that failed previously in relation to obtaining information in relation to biosolids on rural land, when we decided that the EPA was the proper regulatory authority and that they would be governing it, and we shouldn't be spending money trying to duplicate their activities, etc. So I'm a little perplexed at this, and could you give me, could you explain to us how this training could be advanced with all these entities involved?
So through the mayor, as part of the council onboarding session, staff as well as others tailor-made the onboarding program to meet the requirements that we believe that councillors needed to do. This included a half-day session with an independent planning and legal expert, Mr. Paul Brennan. He did a whole heap. It included the role in Part 5, which is part of the Environment Planning Assessment Act, as well as Part 4, which is also part of the Environment Planning Assessment Act. Matters that in relation to permits and the like are generally operational matters that are things that we do following an environmental assessment that we do on major works when we do those things. I note that we previously missed those things, and that's been acknowledged by staff in reports back to council. But through the general manager's comments I made, that the opportunity potentially could be is that if councillors want an individually tailored program around this, looking through IPNR 26-27 may be an avenue to do that if there's some type of tailored approach that you want to make. However, it's those things were the reason we engaged the independent professional to come in and do that work with council back in November of 24, I believe.
Yes, Councillor Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't see the need for a complete whole workshop for those councillors who feel that they need more information. If they can find a course somewhere, then apply to go to it. But it'd be very expensive for the whole lot of us to do it. Maybe somebody could do it and fill the rest of us in on what we need to know. But I'm not sure that we all need. We've got staff who have some of that expertise. They can tell us about it.
Through the chair, if I could do, just to clarify.
That's Lee. I think you've talked, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Councillor Tuck.
I honestly, I'm not going to support this, but I'll support individual training. I think we're getting too close to operational stuff. I think our staff do evaluation of these impacts and whatever. I know Damien's got to do it when you do a building, and it comes down to, you say Damien didn't do it, or he did do it, or what's saying, does the builder go out there and go against what Damien's decided, and then you come screaming back in here, and, you know, but anyway, I don't support it at all.
Any other councillors? If not, right, reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I certainly wasn't suggesting that everyone needs to do it. I hope I made that clear. I'm saying that I feel I need to do it myself. And because my requests haven't received a response, that's why I put in the notice of motion. I do think it is a significant risk area. Council was fined for a failure to get permits, as you know, and I am aware, if my memory is correct, that another council very close to here was fined $130,000, if I remember the figure correctly, for some roadside works where they had not gone through correct assessment processes. And another case, it's probably about 20 years ago now, but it does show the risks that an engineer up on the North Coast went to prison. Not so much for failure to do an assessment, but for retrospectively pretending that he had done an assessment. So yeah, there are significant risks, but if others don't feel the need to do it, I am still requesting that an appropriate trainer or course somewhere be found, and requesting permission to attend. But the person who did the session I attended many years ago was a local. I understand she has retired, which is unfortunate because she would have been ideal. And that was all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Tucker, Olivers and Hayden. Those against? Councillors Trimbath, O'Connor, McCarthy, Graham, Lee and McKibben. Okay. Motion fails. We go to 8.2, inspections on roads and footpaths report for protections under the Civil Liabilities Act. Motion that the General Manager provide a report of the inspections which are carried out on roads and footpaths. The degree of protection is provided under the Civil Liabilities Act. Councillor Tucker.
I'm moving it, thank you.
Yes. You're moving it? Yes. Seconder. Councillor Hayden, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll put this in following a discussion we had a couple of months ago. I think it might have been IBS or Works Committee about the risks that council runs when there are hazards that and people make claims. Now, there are certain protections available to council under the Civil Liabilities Act, but in order to be able to rely on those protections, we have to have, my understanding is that we have to have in place a process of regular and formalised inspections and record keeping and prioritisation of repairs and carrying out those repairs within the funds that we have allocated. So I'm just requesting a report so that we can see in more detail what those systems are that we have in place to satisfy ourselves that we do have those systems in place and that we are therefore able to claim those protections. I do recall a previous council several terms ago requested exactly the same thing, and the director brought in a whole pile of papers to show the type of information that's collected and to demonstrate that it was all being done. And I'm just asking that we go through a repeat of that process so we can see how that is being managed. So it's just a report. There's no external costs involved. It would be either back to a council meeting or to Works Committee. Thank you.
Yes, I'm happy to support Councillor Tucker's motion in this. It is important and it does align with responsible asset management governance, because councillors need to understand if council actually does have documented inspection system that is working efficiently. I know I'm continually sending through reports on specific parts of footpaths and gutters and roads and different things. A lot of the time I do get responses back, but sometimes when there is an issue, like has occurred recently, there's the argument that it wasn't previously reported, and we need to make sure that things are actually being done and documented in the way that the Civil Liabilities Act requests. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking on this? Yes, Councillor Trimble.
So I didn't really understand the notice of motions, as I thought council is protecting the Civil Liabilities Act. And it's also acknowledged by our insurer that, you know, we're a small council with very limited resources. We generally reacted in rectification works. That's accepted. The general manager reports in his annual review, and then also within the monthly report, anything there's noted so we can see it. So has, through the mayor to the general manager, has our public liability insurer flagged that we're not doing our due diligence and risk and flagging risk?
Through the chair, that's very subjective. It's hard for me to comment on that. As my general manager's note indicated, that we're reasonably fortunate. There hasn't been too many claims that we've noted in that. I report those to council monthly within my WHS and ask me. Not to the detail that has been asked for in this notice of motion, but certainly what they are, and if council's exposed, I certainly would report that. Otherwise, but the question is hard to give you an answer, because I don't know where the next one would come from. We certainly look at our processes. We have remote signage. We do the things that would otherwise be accepted by our insurers, but I note that this is a little bit more in depth than what we would previously report.
Councillor Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I won't be supporting this motion. I think it's an operational matter that would have been better dealt through the Works Committee. And myself, I referenced the infrastructure asset management plan, the appendix, and that gave me confidence in terms of the pathway. So no, I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
I can, General Manager. I'm assuming that as our staff, in their general course of business as they go around, they will, if they see issues that they think are significant, they will raise them and note them.
It's highly encouraged, Mr. Mayor.
OHS. To put a separate inspection regime in outside that, with reports including inspection frequency, details of information, our repairs of priorities is obviously going to cost money and utilise resources. And have we estimated what it would cost?
No, we haven't gone down that path yet, thanks, Mayor.
Is there a program to, as you said, encourage staff to, when they see things, to report it and to note it? And there is a procedure for that?
Yeah.
A program for that?
Through the chair, we absolutely have that in place. We also provide our staff with all the credentials to be able, the tools to be able to do that. The third thing is we also encourage the community to identify those things as well. So I absolutely concede that a majority of the time council is reactive. I take that point. We definitely have the opportunity. We have the systems in place that certainly look to address that. And
The ability to address some of them obviously depends on our resources as well.
yeah, absolutely. Resources, the budget, all those sort of things that we look at. To be honest, what some of the major things that we're looking now are things that have happened and have been happening for 50 years. So it's trying to then rectify those things that have worked for quite some time, but now no longer work. So we constantly are trying to utilise our dollars for as well and as efficient as we can.
Any other speakers? Yes, go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Nick. Just to respond to the points you made, my recollection of the Act is that encouraging staff or the public to report things is not sufficient to give us those protections under the Civil Liabilities Act. That it requires proactively and in a systematic way to go and inspect things and find them ourselves. That's my understanding. I'm assuming that does happen. It certainly used to happen. I'm assuming it still does. But there were some comments made that just made me concerned, and I would just like to see some evidence of how we go about it and what information is collected. So it's just a simple report that I'm requesting so that I can be satisfied about that. Thank you.
All right, put the motion, all in favour? Councillor Leveris, Hayden and Tucker. All of the councillors against. The motion has failed. We go to 9, reports for decision. Item 9.1 is Abercrombie landslide remediation works, tender for construction. The recommendation is that council nominates the open tendering method as prescribed in accordance with clause 166B of the Local Government Regulations 2021 for the construction only of the remediation works to the Abercrombie landslide as per detailed design. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor McCarthy. Councillor Hayden, as per the recommendation.
As per the recommendation, Mr Mayor, and nothing further to add as part of the tendering process. Thank you.
Councillor McCarthy.
Happy with the report.
Any other discussion? If not, put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We go to 9.2, draft waste strategy. The recommendation is that council 1, place the final draft waste strategy on public exhibition for a period of 28 days, inviting submissions during the exhibition period. 2, adopt the waste strategy as presented if no submissions are received in the exhibition period. 3, delegate to the General Manager to make minor changes to the waste strategy document. Do a motion, please. Councillor O'Connor. Councillor Hayden, thank you. Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you for the report. Nothing further to add.
Councillor Hayden.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to second the recommendation in all three portions, and then have that on exhibition, and we await to see any further submissions. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this matter? Right, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go to 9.3. Oberon Digital Plan 2026. The recommendation is the council place the draft Oberon Council Digital Plan 2026 on public exhibition for a period of 28 days. 2, adopt the plan as presented if no submissions are received from the exhibition period. 3, delegate authority to the General Manager to make minor amendments if required. Have a motion, please. Councillor O'Connor, seconder, please. Councillor Leveris, thank you. Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thanks for the report. Nothing further to add.
Councillor Leveris.
Nothing to add.
Any other discussion? Thought I put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Go to 9.4, tree removal in Oberon Street. Recommendation is the council replace the dead tree near the pedestrian central crossing in Oberon Street using the TI Legacy Fund allocated for street tree planting up to the value of 9,500, excluding GST and including traffic control. I have a motion, please. Councillor Hayden.
I have a different motion, Mr Mayor.
Is that motion that council remove the dead oak tree adjacent to the central pedestrian crossing in Oberon Street with funding to be drawn from the Legacy Town Improvement Levy allocated, identified in the original report. 2, defer any replanting at the location pending further review. 3, refer the matter to the local traffic committee for consideration. 4, seek formal advice from Transport to New South Wales regarding site distance requirements, pedestrian crossing compliance and applicable state road safety standards at that location. And 5, receive a report back to council the outcome of the traffic committee and Transport for New South Wales advice, including recommendations regarding the appropriateness of the current crossing location and overshadowing by remaining trees.
Yes, except I do have to amend portion 5 to remove the reference to the traffic committee, please.
So receive a report back to council on the outcomes of the Transport for New South Wales advice.
Transport New South Wales advice.
Okay, do you have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Councillor Leverett. Yes, councillor Hayden.
Yes, as we know, the pedestrian crossing has had some significant issues over a period of years with near misses, with the height and the vision obstruction around the overshadowing from some of the trees, dependent upon which time of the day it is, whether it's morning, midday or evening. The dead tree does need to be removed, but also this is a state road, so I think there needs to be concurrence with Transport for New South Wales in relation to that. And I would like to seek their information. There were some issues previously around the pedestrian location in 2023. So I would like to get some further information around that. Thank you.
Councillor Leverett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I do like those trees, to be quite honest. Whether or not they're sort of suitable to be there for the amount of, I guess, issues they can create when they drop their leaves, and obviously they're deciduous, so come winter they're not exactly a very nice and look at. So I'm just kind of considering whether or not an alternative to an evergreen tree would be suitable, and whether or not we ask the community if that would be something they could consider as well.
Any other discussion? That's a take.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of points. Firstly, to councillor Hayden, I wonder if it was the intention to also remove part 3, which only refers to the local traffic committee.
Yes, it was, sorry.
So that means 4 becomes 3, is
Yeah.
that correct? And
Yes.
5 becomes 4?
Yes.
But even with that change, I still have concerns. I'm just flagging that if this is unsuccessful, I would be moving a motion similar to the original recommendation, but with a different funding source. Because I understand where councillor Hayden's coming from, but I don't think those issues relate to the tree. I think it's other matters that are affecting the safety of that pedestrian crossing. So I think we should be replacing the tree, but I don't think it is the tree that is the problem with the pedestrian crossing.
Any other discussion? I would say I'd oppose the motion as put. I note councillor Hayden's comments. I mean, I agree with councillor Tucker in that I thought the issues were more about at one stage the height of the hedge rather than the tree. I note councillor Leverett's point. However, one of the reasons we've got deciduous trees is that so in winter we get the sunlight in on the pavement, whereas an evergreen's not going to allow that. We're going to have ice. The pavement's already slippery. So if we have an evergreen, it's going to create more shadow effect and greater ice. So that is one of the reasons I know that we have deciduous trees. Yes, there's a problem with leaves, etc., but unfortunately, that's one of the unfortunate things you have with trees. So I'm not sure that planting an evergreen is going to solve the problem. In fact, I think it's probably going to exacerbate the problem from a safety perspective. We have lines of oaks on either side of the street. They were put in to obviously provide a uniform mass planting, which to beautify the street. Whether or not they were correct at the time and that they may grow too large, that's obviously an issue. But in order to keep the symmetry, it is probably a good idea to plant what's there. And as I said, I think the issues we've had with the pedestrian, or the comments we've had in the relation to the pedestrian crossing, are more in relation to the obscurity from maybe the hedges rather than the actual trees. Yes, councillor.
Thanks, Mr. Howard. 100% agree with you in regard to deciduous versus evergreen. You know, you go to Bathurst and I'm just so proud coming back to Oberon. We've got trees and Bathurst hasn't, and the state are in there. They've tried, but they've really stuffed it up really. And I've just got a question regarding costing. Is this all contractors? Or is it staff?
Through the chair, it's a contract.
Yeah, good.
Any other discussion on this? Councillor Carthen.
I think then councillor Tucker's got a proposed amendment, but they can't support this. But when we done the Main Street thing, we went to the RTA and they were happy with these trees. And I'm just not sure where this is leading to, but one of the worst parts about it, it's our own culture. We come out of the post office, gather around that crossing and talk. We talk at Morwoods and then we decide to cross the road. We don't, it's our problem. And if we do anything, let's get rid of the shrubs in that crossing. But it's mainly our fault.
Councillor Hayden.
Yes, just right of reply to my motion. I understand where all councillors are coming from. Some of the issues that I've mentioned about the overshadowing occurs with the sunlight coming in and coming off trees and hitting across windscreens. That's been encountered by several people as well as myself and the near misses. And when David Basil was here, he was out the front when I had to report a near miss from myself. Another issue around those oak trees, I mean, the council of the day clearly weren't thinking putting oak trees in the main street. I understand that a lot of people in this room don't go out and sweep the road and clean up the oak leaves, but I've done it several times now. There's been 2 individuals that have fell on the pedestrian crossing when the oak leaves have been left there. They become this high and they become terrible slip hazard. And people have actually fell and been injured because of the slipperiness of those oak leaves. So as the previous motion that was defeated around Civil Liabilities Act and everything, perhaps there might need to be more focus on cleaning up of the leaves. But those leaves from those oak trees are also causing blockage issues in our drains as well. So all good. Thank you.
Right, I put the motion as it appears on the screen. All in favour? Councillor Hayden, Councillor Leveris, and all other councillors against. Councillor Tucker, you've had a motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. So my motion would be as per the recommendation, except for where it says using the TI Legacy Fund allocation for street tree planting. I would change that to using the town streets maintenance budget.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Carthy, Councillor Tucker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Firstly, just a brief comment on Councillor Hayden's motion.
Well, that's failed.
Yes, but just mention that I think the problem is, as you said, the low vegetation, and I'm certainly open to something to have a look at safety improvements involving the low vegetation. The reason for preferring to use town streets maintenance rather than the TI Legacy Fund for street planting, that allocation is meant to be for new planting, to extend our plantings around the town. This is an existing tree which has died for whatever reason, and I think that becomes a maintenance issue, and therefore we should be using the maintenance allocation. If advice comes back saying that that is seriously, stretching it for whether we're going to be able to sit within this year's allocation, I'm open to reconsideration, but that is my first preference, that we should be using the maintenance budget.
Thank you, Councillor McCarthy.
Nothing more to say. I think council that summed it up.
Councillor Day.
Yes, I'm just wondering if I probably should have a question to the general manager. Prior to any of this work being done, is there any concurrence from the Transport New South Wales in regards to work on that removal of the tree and the replacement? Do we have to consult with Transport because it's a state road?
So manager, so through the chair, council be aware of the significant changes to the local traffic committees and now the link towards transport forum rather than NAV, which gives quite a few delegations to local authorities to do this. My understanding through talking to the director and the manager is that it's not required to do anything because it's simply a replacement of what we had there to start with. It's not a exacerbation. It's not a new program. It's simply a replacement.
Okay, so could there be an amendment added to that council investigate? Could I add an additional amendment to Councillor Tucker's recommendation that is on here to state that we can request a report back to council in relation to the shrubbery and possible removal of some of that? And that be done in conjunction with this, adding a separate bullet perhaps?
I'm open to it. I was imagining it would be a separate motion,
Yes,
because I think it is a separate issue, the tree, as opposed to the safety of the crossings. So that was why I didn't include that.
So I think that's been rejected
Yeah,
by
okay.
Councillor.
That's all right. That's all right.
Councillor Chamber.
I only have one question. We've talked about replacing the tree and absolutely we should replace the tree. Sometimes I've got back to that. It's just the source for the removal. And this is to the corporate services director, how much money, instead of us having to come back again, are you able to identify now how much funds are in that budget? Because if it's not enough, then we do actually have to go back to the original source that we've.
Directly, through the chair for that particular budget item, we generally only budget for labour in terms of those items. There's not a lot of contractor budgeting we do in that particular activity. So, yeah, we would have to, I would imagine without looking into that, it would be reasonably under strain and may not be enough to carry that. That's why the recommendation has identified the TI based on how we generally budget for that activity.
So based on that discussion, would you amend it that the budget should be on the street beautification?
I think you're being asked, Councillor Day.
Oh, sorry, was that a question?
Yeah. Just that we're identifying now that we potentially don't have the money. This tree has to be replaced and we're just delaying it and we think.
Potentially we don't have enough money. Are we able to see what the budget is for town streets maintenance and how much has been spent? Is that something that we can easily and quickly look up?
Well, I think the issue is the director has said we'll have to come back with another report. So, sorry, General Manager.
Just to add some clarity, we're more than happy to look at the best way to spend the money, and if that is out of that maintenance budget because we carry a surplus, then we're more than happy to do that. The reason why the reason why the report is in the recommendation, I would assume, is because, as the director has indicated, that fund is generally under strain because of the conditions that we have. But more than happy to look at that and look at that first, and if not, use that, and we'll come back with a report if if that is the case, I'm trying to appease councillors both ways.
Well, we don't want. So I think, I think the question is not absolutely certain what's in that budget, whether there's enough. I think the general manager's saying we could look at taking it from that budget, but then if there's not enough, we'd have to come back with another report. So.
Through the chair, that budget item, just looking at that contractors is $5,000 the budget for contractors in that delivery function based on the frequency of the cleans and things like that. So from the very top line viewing, it would seem that we would be needing another source, that we'd be wise to consider that.
Councillor Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think that answers my question. The question isn't how much was for contractors. Now, that's an internal thing. We've got a big bucket of, or a bucket of money for town streets maintenance. The start of the year, we're imagining some will go to staff and plant and contractors and materials, but those proportions can be changed. My question is on the bucket of money for town streets maintenance, how much of that has been spent? And if we end up spending more on contractors and less on something else, but I'm open to a change to say that we preferably, if possible, use the town streets maintenance. And if there is insufficient funds in that budget, then we use the TI legacy fund. If someone can come up with a wording along those lines, I'm open to that change.
And the second, it was councillor McCarthy. You happy with that?
I'm not sure now. Well, I need an understanding if we're using our own traffic control, and if not, why not?
Director?
Oh, through the chair, it depends on the availability of staff at the time, if we have to get a contractor in or not. Not how we schedule it, how we plan it. We could use our own staff considering they're trained.
So we've priced this on the basis of using contractors. £9,000.
Generally, it can't be what it cost us, up to £5,000 a day for traffic control.
Right.
But yeah, that's the whole reason why we put up to.
Yes.
It's not going to exceed that and anything would go back.
Oh, that's one.
I will accept that change if the seconder is happy with that change.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Need a bit more clarification if we can. Is the work program to be done at first start of work, or is it middle of the day? So the impact on the community, that was all.
I think that's an operational matter that they'll.
Well, yeah, yes and no. If you see the street light that was installed down the library was done first thing in the morning, very little impact to traffic. So if this was done early in the morning, I think we're fine. Very impact.
Well, I think the duration was specified as 1 day, so it may take a day. It may take something less than a day.
Through the chair, we will acknowledge that there's going to be an impact on traffic when that action occurs. We use our socials and we use our communication networks to be able to provide that to the news, let them know that that's the case, but we'll certainly try and mitigate that impact on the users.
Right. Any further discussion on this matter?
Yes, through the chair. Have we getting a couple of quotes, or is this just an estimate, or
It's an estimate up to.
So you're getting
Through the chair, we already have a quote. It sits within the delegation of how we undertake our procurement processes. That means we only need one.
Right.
It's believed that this is a pretty good quote because it includes the replacement of the tree, a mature tree. Like it's it's a grinding out as well as the installation of a new tree. I think it's 3.5 meters high, so the tree itself is quite established. So that comes with some cost.
Yeah, anyone else? Councillor Tucker, I think you probably had it right. Anything else?
Nothing further to say. Thank you.
Right, I put the motion that is on the screen. All in favour? Carried. All councillors except Councillor McCarthy.
Oh,
Councillor Hayden. Yes, yeah. So you did a hand up.
I did.
Oh, you did. Put it down.
Councillor Lady,
Councillor Lee, you were for it?
Yes.
Thank you. All councillors for it except Councillor Hayden. We go to 9.5, complaints handling policy and positive working relationships policy 2123. The recommendation is that council note the submission received during exhibition of the updated complaints handling policy 2101, adopt the updated complaints handling policy 2101, including amendments responding to matters raised in the submission as outlined in this report, delegate authority to the general manager to make minor amendments if required, and publish the adopted policy on council's website. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Trembath and Councillor O'Connor, thank you.
I'll move the motion with all four parties.
Nothing further to add.
Councillor Hayden?
yeah, I would have been happy to move that. I'm happy as it sits. The only thing is I did note in my submission, I wasn't happy with the lodgement channels listed within the policy. It's okay to say, within the policy, lodgement channels are email, online, post, phone, in person as provided on council's website or administration centre. I would have liked to have had the details of the email address, of the contact details within that, because not everyone may be going online to access. If someone came into the office and asked for the policy and they went home and they wanted to read it, under the lodgement channels, they're only reading those 2 bullet points. I would have liked to have seen detail of the contact addresses, etc. to lodge. That's all. So I do accept what's been stated in my submission and the answers to it, but that is just something that I was drawing on because it's not within the policy there. Thank you.
Can we make a response? Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion on this matter? If not, a minute right of reply. No. Okay. I'm sorry, Councillor McCarthy.
I'll catch it later.
Councillor McCarthy?
I was assured that if you come in and want to make a road complaint, there was a book you had to sign. I don't see this in the policy, that was all. Gary, the general manager assured me that if someone comes in, say for out in Marong or that way, and they've got a complaint about the road, they're encouraged to sign some book to say that they've lodged a complaint against the road.
Yeah, but that's a different complaints. This is the formal complaints policy.
I'm happy to answer.
Yeah.
Our CRM system dictates that, so that's exactly correct.
All right, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 9.6, road funding update report. The recommendations the council endorse the changes to the financial year 2025-26 roads program, including the variations to RERRF, roads to recovery and natural disaster funding allocations. A motion, please. Councillor O'Connor, seconder, please. Councillor Tucker.
No. Oh, well, it depends what the motion is.
The motion, I'm assuming, is as per the recommendation. Seconder, please. Councillor Trembath, Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you, I'd like to thank the director for providing a very comprehensive report and one which actually could reconcile. And to me, as a councillor, it gave me confidence that there's flexibility in the council and also confidence that the allocation of council's scarce resources is being handled well. So thank you.
Councillor Trembath.
I would echo the statements just made by Councillor O'Connor. It was a really good report and I really appreciated the detail that you included. But I also have to say, Councillor Tuck, I did appreciate your questions that we got from that report as well. So thank you.
Councillor Tucker, do you know want to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. And if this motion fails, I'll have an alternative motion. I have really major problems with this report and recommendations. When I first read it, I really struggled to make the numbers work. It took me quite a long time to understand what was going on, and particularly in relation to the roads to recovery bit, but also the RERF. I note that there is a late report with some of those questions answered, but I've only had a very brief skim through it, and it still does not satisfy my concerns with it. The report certainly says where it wants to put the money, but it didn't say where the money's coming from, which projects which were previously funded will no longer be funded. And when I went through it in more detail, I drew up my own little table, and I find that virtually all of what we were going to do in the way of reseals, that all that money's gone and being used for other purposes other than reseals. So in my view, this decision is absolutely crucial in determining what our long-term road strategy is going to be. Are we at least going to try to implement a reseal program to reduce the failures that we get after every rain event? And ultimately, after we implement that, reduce our long-term maintenance burden? Or are we forever going to just chase our tails and be reactive and never get on top of the actual problem? It shows the appalling folly, in my view, of this council having done virtually no reseals at all for 10 years. Morrison Lowe says we should fully fund our reseal program. Well, we're a long, long way from doing that, and this puts us even further behind if we accept the almost complete elimination of that reseals. We did no reseals the previous summer. The money was carried forward to the current year. That's why we've got about 1.2 million sitting there for reseals now. Most of that will be gone. I will be proposing, if I get a chance to move my motion, that we refer this to the Works Working Party. We're due for a meeting in March anyway, and we go through it in more detail and understand the implications of just dealing with the short-term problems and then not addressing the long-term structural problems. So just flagging that is what my motion will be if I get the chance to move it.
I might ask the director or general manager to comment. I note that in response to your questions, top of page 6, I thought 5 and 8 did say, note that a shift away from reselling has occurred throughout the year, while the team notes reselling will enhance the road network. High priority works further below have required more focus during the financial year. Then it says, when curating the resale program, staff noted significant underlying issues, which will in turn make the resale program not effective, which has led to the shift to a more of a heavy patching and rehabilitation focus. An example includes paper defamation where a resale will exacerbate this issue and create water pooling and other safety concerns. So I'd ask the director to comment on this in more detail.
So the chair, on the resale program in the last year or the last season, we have resale 2.4 kilometres on Shooters Hill Road. That was a resale as per resale program. However, unfortunately, that seal shows defects or has shown defects, which we're following up. That's one of the issues. And talking about Shooters Hill Road, it's a pretty long road and it hasn't been resealed probably since it was built, 35 years. As you would be aware, and we discussed at previous councillor sessions and works working parties, that a resale on these roads would need to occur at least every 15 to 18 years, which we're way past. So we have a backlog which we cannot catch up. In the meantime, we have other failures, including pavement failures, which we need to address, or we have decided to address as a priority, which is heavy patching, which then is followed by a seal as well, which is not a reseal, but a heavy patch with a seal. We have our works manager online to elaborate on any further, considering my background is not in civil engineering. I'll just call on him if he's got to elaborate any further on this topic.
Dash, maybe you could, yes.
Yeah, thanks, Cornelia. So the only reason we have not focused till now on the reseals is because of the same reason which is mentioned in the report, which is we have different defects and underlying defects. If we reseal over them, it's just putting like a band-aid over the wound, which will eventually come off, and the money will not be well spent. And the short term which I had with the council till now, I could only have my way around on the few jobs where the reseals were anticipated to be done, that we will be doing reseals in XYZ locations, but we had different things coming up with the time going, and we decided to put our focus on them rather than putting a band-aid over, you know, the defects, which would not make much sense. So a reseal, of course, a reseal is very important is very important to make the asset's life extended. And I do really think that reseals should be done, but we do have different problems which we are dealing with, and we are dealing according to what we have right now in front of us.
So I think, Dash, is what you're saying is the roads have deteriorated in certain sections to the extent that the substrata needs fixing in other areas, so that a reseal, would fail because they need more work on them. Is that what you're trying
Yes,
to say?
Yeah. So just taking on Councillor Tucker's word that what happens is we are focusing on structural ability of the pavement and structural strength of the pavement, and not just the surface. Yes, of course, the defects start to build up when the surface is compromised. But if we have defects already and we put money on just the surface and not the structure, it eventually is going to fail and at a very fast pace.
You've actually moved the motion. You're going to write a reply at the end. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to talk on this?
I can't speak again.
I would like,
Yes, Councillor Hayden.
I would like to move an amendment, please.
Yes. We have it.
Yes, Sharon has my amendment.
Then be paid council.
Hey, girls.
That's there for you to make.
Thank you. I'm just waiting on the mayor's direction.
Okay, do you have a seconder? Councillor Tucker. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I wasn't very impressed with the 9.6 either. Council has put in a lot of time when we've in the previous past had to go through both
Just go
Sorry, I was just waiting for the general manager to. Um,
Through the chair, we just for procedural.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Regards to the new code.
so, councillors have put a lot of time and effort previously when we do road matrices and come up with decisions and, then formulate different, directions, governance directions about the best way to go forward through our works committees and that to make these decisions on resealing and what have you. What concerns me in this is the scale of the shift in that where there is no reseals at all. I also continually see this same situation of similar roads getting constant work done to them or constant patching or constant updates or reallocation somewhere else. And one road that comes to mind is Dog Rocks Road, back in 2023 that was meant to have resealing, and that road hasn't been touched and it's still a mess. So I'd like to defer 9.6 to a works committee working party. Have a in-depth discussion, put both the QBR1 and QBR2 side by side and go through everything in depth, because when we adopted the last operational plan, there was a reseal program included in that, and now that's removed through QBR2. And it's like council's abandoning the reseals that councillors have discussed. So that's all I've got to say on it.
Councillor
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The first point is just in part one, if Councillor Hayden is happy to change the word committee to working party.
Yep.
And I'll address the other comments that have been made shortly, but I certainly understand the temptation to deal with this urgent short-term matters. It's a terrible long-term strategy. I'm not for a moment suggesting we should put a reseal over a failed pavement. But we've got 300 k's of sealed roads. There's plenty of that is due or overdue for reseals that don't have those structural issues. And if we don't get on with reseals, a lot of them are going to fail before we get even close to putting a reseal on them. So that's what I'm suggesting. In areas where there are structural problems, yes, we need to deal with them. And if we use RERRF or whatever, or other funding, fine. But we need to try to protect at least some funding for reseals. So I'm not suggesting we make that decision now. I agree with, as I said previously, with putting it off to a working party meeting and going through it in much more detail then, and then we can decide. But this is such a fundamental change to what we've previously decided. I don't think we should be making a decision tonight. We need to have a more detailed discussion. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm speaking against.
Yeah.
Still have my right to reply.
No, you don't have your right. You don't have your right to reply because we're talking on the amendment.
But later on.
Only if it goes back to yours.
Can I speak to Dash? So,
Yes. Yes.
Dash,
So, Dash, you're happy for Councillor Connor to address you?
I am, yes.
Through the Technical Services Director, are you happy to? Or should it go through?
I'll go through the director. So the information Dash provided, I think, for me, it's best summarised by the example of the O'Connell Plain Road. Would that be correct? That we've got a road there that it's no good doing a quick fix on it. It's got significant issues. So what we've done is said, rather than spend 500,000, we'll spend 150 and we'll look at the integrity and do it properly down the track. And then the other thing we've done is pushed out work to the 26, 27 year. And what we're doing is using, as I said at the beginning, we've got allocating our scarce resources to those things that are in most need at the moment. So your statements about resheeting, I concur with them. I 100% agree with them. But I wouldn't myself use the word appalling folly. I think it's really about resources and managing. And I think this report is a very succinct report. Thank you.
If I can add to my comments previously made, yes, we do have reallocated or we have used funding, on heavy patching and rehabilitation of certain sections of the roads, but it won't be doing justice to that with saying that we have abandoned resealing. Yes, we will do resealing, but we will have to have a good look at it if it's really effective or not. We still will be doing resealings, and you will be seeing in the coming weeks the time we have left with our construction period. But yes, we will be doing some resealing. It's not that we have totally abandoned the resealing.
Councillor Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to speak against the amendment because I think the report and the discussion that we've had has really outlined the reasons for the changes in priorities. And I think that that's been explained to us quite well. It's not looking, we can look further into the future, works program, but right now, I think we need to go back to the original rather than what's the amendment.
Thank you. Councillor Tremont.
I agree with Councillor Graham and appreciate Dash's work and detail as a civil engineer that he's put into this report for us. And I think one of the key things he just said then is we only have a little window left of when we can do work, and then we have to wait again, don't we? So if we're deferring anything to another meeting, to meet, it's our community that's going to suffer. We have to start thinking about the impacts to our community, not in this room all the time. So thank you, Dash. I really appreciated your report. Thought it was very detailed and appreciate your extra input.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'll be speaking against the amendment. Whilst I appreciate that we have priority on reseals, I read the report and I read it again. I've read the answers to Councillor Plucker's questions, and there were detailed responses to that. And I think the answers to the questions also assisted greatly in me coming to my decision to say, well, there is a change in priorities. We are being advised this by people who have expertise in the area, obviously our engineers. They told us exactly why we need to change the priorities. They've said they will continue with reseals where the road substratum, etc., is suitable for reseals, but they don't want to waste money where it's basically like on Shooters Hill Road, and I know the situation on Shooters Hill Road where we did resealing and then it failed because the substratum really wasn't good enough. So I will be voting against the amendment and will be supporting the original motion. All right, any other right of reply for this one? Yes, Councillor.
Yes, that's okay. I've heard everybody. One of the issues I have is, we're governance based and we make decisions, and a lot of the time those decisions are getting changed by another level. And I'd also like to request, whilst I'm saying this, we really do need to have a works party meeting and look at our roads matrix and have a look at the works that are up there under a governance perspective in the community, because what decisions we've made previously and how we set that matrix in the past, it hasn't been followed, and we need to have another look at that. But anyway, I understand where everybody's coming from. I don't support the original, the amendments being put up, and just let's hear the vote on it.
Well, I'm not certain that we can say that the matrix hasn't been followed. I think it has been followed. That's why we've got this report, which is indicating that the engineering department, the technical services department thinks there needs to be a change, and they've given the reasons why. All right, I put the motion. All in favour?
Have you put in?
The amendment, sorry, the amendment, which is, yeah, the amendment. All in favour of the amendment?
See the amendment on the screen, please? Thank you.
I put the amendment. All in favour? Councillor Tucker, Carthy and Hayden, the amendment has failed. We'll go back to the original motions. Oh, those against were Councillor Trembath, Alevers, O'Connor, Graham, Lee, McKibben. You go back to the original motion.
And Mr Mayor, I think we've had a robust discussion and nothing further to add.
The other discussion, if not, I put the motion, which is the one original as per the recommendation is on the screen. All in favour? Councillors Trembath, O'Connor, Alevers, Graham, Lee, McKibben, against Hayden, McCarthy and Tucker. Motion is passed as per the recommendation. We go to Sorry, 9.7 quarterly budget review statement, October to December 2025. The recommendation is the council, one, endorses the following operational plan budget adjustments. A, inclusion of the following items. Land use strategy, additional budget allocation funded from the land development reserve. B, note the roads project adjustments as detailed in the roads report, including Roman 1, Regional Emergency Road Repair Fund, RERF, Roman 2, Roads to Recovery, R2R, Roman 3, National Disaster Project, AGRN 1119, Roman 4, Natural Disaster Projects, AGRN 1034. 2, authorises the General Manager to make minor administrative changes as required. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Graham, thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Trembath, thank you. Councillor Graham.
As per the recommendation.
You?
And nothing further to add.
Thank you. Any other comments? Discussion. Councillor Tucker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have a couple of questions, both of them on page 258. The first one is in part 6 relating to the legacy TI fund. And it says work continues to ensure it is fully expended by 30th of June this year. And I just want to query that. To me, it seems unlikely, and we've previously been told that end date is going to have to be, or likely to have to be extended. So I was surprised by that comment that we're still expecting or hoping to get it completed by June this year. So I'd just like an update on how we're progressing with that.
Improve services, Drew.
So can you repeat the?
Oh, sorry, it's about the PI fund. Will it be expended by? All right.
Through the chair, we have flagged that this may require an extension, but the intention is to still try and get as much of it as we can get done in that space of time. Remember, this is QR2. So that's to December, and we'll keep on monitoring. If we bring the one back, the next one we might give a timeline in terms of if those things cannot be achieved.
Yes.
And my second question is on the same page, part 8, the sewage treatment plants. And again, I was very surprised by the comment that council is awaiting confirmation of grant funding. I understood that it was all confirmed, and that's what was a critical factor in us going ahead and signing the contract. So I'm really surprised to see that we're still awaiting confirmation.
So I can answer that, Councillor Taylor. So we got everything in by the date we were asked to get in, November, right? So all's in, and basically, Infrastructure New South Wales advised Treasury Department, and the hold up has been Treasury Department advising the Treasurer, because we need confirmation that grant funding is available. We've done everything that we were requested to do so. We have no reason to believe it won't be. It's been recommended that the project proceed by Infrastructure New South Wales. As of today, I rang the Treasurer's Department and said, where is this? I was told the brief from Treasury had arrived on the Treasurer's desk and that the approval was imminent, and I asked, could it be pushed ahead? So we're just waiting for a signature, basically. And it is the bureaucracy of government that is causing this. We did everything that we were required to do, as you recall, by 30th of November. That's why we went full steam ahead. But the government bureaucracy, unfortunately, we have little control over. Infrastructure New South Wales agreed with us, everything's been done. They've advised Treasury that. Treasury's now, I think in the last few days, finally got their piece of paper to the Treasurer. All we need now is the Treasurer's sign.
I had understood that we received that confirmation before the end of November.
We received everything we needed to from Infrastructure New South Wales and everything else. So, but we have not, no one has advised us, everyone has advised us that the project is a goer. It's just, we need the Treasurer's signature.
Sorry, just in terms of clarification, Oberon Council did everything it was asked for by the Treasurer in its letter to meet the November deadline, which is what Council was advised of at the time. This is now trying to get that confirmation to say the money has been reserved for the purpose in which it was provided in the original state.
We sent a letter to the Treasurer before the 30th of November advising we'd met all the requirements, as you recall. We've never received anything to say we haven't. And in fact, Infrastructure New South Wales has confirmed to us that from their perspective, we have. But I can't, unfortunately, we've all done as much as we can with the government bureaucracy, but.
And I appreciate the information. I appreciate all the work that's gone into it. I'm just clarifying because clearly I've misunderstood something along the way.
Yes, Councillor Connor.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I was going to say your hamstrings are hurting, waiting for this to be decided, but I won't say it. Through you, a question to the Director,
Yes.
Matt. Just a couple of simple ones, Matt. We had a workshop on budgeting, and I was just wondering if there's any progress regarding cost reduction and cost recovery, or is that going to come up in a future meeting? And then just the other one was, when the STP gets going, reporting, how we're going to receive it. Can we get it against the budget? Is that possible or not?
Through the chair, so the two questions there, the workshop we did looking at portioning costs and also efficiencies. Yes, the work on that is proceeding well. It's being done in conjunction with the work we're doing on the internal audit and all the plant charge out rates. So we are fully channeling that into the new budget. So that is progressing well, and the next update of that will be at ARIC in a few weeks' time. For the STP, I would imagining such a large project, we would be providing a very customised regular report on how that's tracking. So yeah, our expectation.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, just under part A on page 258, 406, under the 2026-27 financial year, where you've got the funded by sewer reserves, etc., and new loan drawdown 5 million. when is that going to be expected to be drawn down, and what will be the repayment fees in
So through the chair, that $5 million loan is scheduled to hit in 26, 27, and we'll be factoring that into the next operational plan. Legally ready, the final confirmation of the project, but it is scheduled to hit in the 26, 27 FY.
So that's after this July this year. So that's just concerning me. So there's been no feedback to councillors on what the payment plan would be, like how much, what the payments are going to be and so on, and that's just a concern.
There has been actually, it was a huge forecast provided to councillors when we approved this, which indicated when the drawdowns are likely to occur and what the interest and principal repayments on the 5 million and the existing 3 million would be.
I didn't get the one that said how much the payments would be, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sure you did. It was circulated to all councillors.
And through the chair, we're in constant discussion with T Corp, who are very interested in the project as well, because their movements, the rates, the interest and does move around. So we also are eagerly, once we get that confirmation, if we lock some dates in, we can absolutely give a final schedule to everyone involved.
So once council gets the confirmation about that grant funding, when's that project going to kick off?
Through the chair, we are already having meetings with the preferred consultant to move it as quickly as possible. We're already incurring some cost escalations on the basis that the Treasury haven't provided their response to us.
Thank you.
For the chair, so you signed the contract, but we still haven't had confirmation from the treasurer.
There's a condition precedent. We have to get it signed off by the treasurer.
And it's not signed off, but they've gone ahead with the contract.
Yeah. But it said it doesn't become, the contract does not take effect until we have the treasurer signature.
And that's listed in the contract. That's fair enough. That's all right.
It's condition precedent.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Councillor Leverett, you? All right. I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Councillor McCarthy, you.
Had me hand.
You must go wave and put it down very quickly.
I didn't have my hand up.
Sorry, Councillor Taylor didn't have his hand up. So Councillor Taylor's against, all other councillors for. 9.8, 2026-27, IPART rate peg determination. Recommendation is council adopt the IPART determined rate peg of 3.3% for the 2026-27 financial year. The motion, please. Councillor Hayden. Is it as per the recommendation?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Leverett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hayden.
Used it a little bit. Anyway.
I'm talking. You seconded. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'm happy with the recommendation. I was trying to be a little bit greedy earlier when I sent my email through to the Corporate Services Director and asked if we could have 4%, but anyway, I can't have 4. I can have 3.3. But, and that still doesn't keep up with a lot of the CPI and employee costs and so on. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Councillor Leverett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, the 3.3% sort of puts us in the lower sort of range of the New South Wales sort of council. It's kind of good, and we're a little bit above, obviously, some of our neighbouring councils, but we're not a high growth council, so our population factor adjustments very, very little. So it reinforces, I guess, the challenges we have in funding infrastructure renewals, you know, from a limited rate base. So, and like Councillor Hayden said, it is below the 3.8% CPI rate, so that's a comforting thing.
Anyone else? I mean, the only other alternative is if it's a special rate variation if we want to go above this, which obviously the community experienced over a 5-year period previously. And as part of deliberation. In future, we may have to consider it, but hopefully not. But we have to look at that in tandem with cost reductions. All right, any other discussion? If not, I put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 9.9 Internal Audit Plan Scope Amendment. Recommendation is that council, 1, endorse the amendment to year 2 of the internal audit plan, replacing the IT systems upgrade and implementation audit with the service delivery audit of parks and gardens operations. 2, refer the amended internal audit plan to the Oberon Audit Risk and Improvement Committee for review and approval for incorporation into an updated plan. Can I have a motion, please?
Oh,
Councillor Graham, Councillor Everest, yes, thank you. Councillor Graham,
Yeah, as per the recommendation, as well
Right.
explained.
Councillor Everest. As per the recommendation motion.
yeah, I just want to say a few things, but I mean, look, it is a very, parks and gardens are very sort of highly visible, community sort of facing service, I guess, and I just hope that when we do this audit, we've got a KPI framework that we work to.
Go ahead. Any other discussion? Councillor Tucker.
Just a very brief comment, Mr Mayor, that go ahead with the Parks and Gardens or operations audit, just to make sure that that includes all the work that we do on street villages, even though they're technically not parks, but it's the same crew, the same sort of work, and I think there's very similar opportunities for improvements in this area. But just to make sure it covers parks and streets.
It's noted, no, I think it does, doesn't it, gentlemen?
Through the chair, it's, yeah, that's the intention.
They're all their ambulance and work,
So
isn't it?
just work within the scope we have within the budget, but that's exactly what we're looking to do.
Councillor Conley.
Mr Mayor, through you, question to the director. Does the IT system upgrade, will that still occur in the future?
Through the chair, that focus on IT implementation is still quite high on in our risk registers. So it'll be no doubt looked at as the next round of that internal audit framework. So yeah, it's still very top high risk that we need to look at.
Any other discussion? Councillor Graham, do you want to reply?
I need, thank you.
Put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We go to item 10, councillor and delegates reports. There are nil, and we have 11 committee reports. 11.1 is the Black Springs Community Hall Committee meeting 11th December 2025. Recommendation that council receive and note the minutes of the Black Springs Hall Committee held on 11th of December 2025. The motion, please. Councillor Hayden, seconded, please. Councillor Everest. Sorry, Councillor Lee. Councillor Lee. Sorry. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, as you know, it's just the periodic meeting report from the December meeting and discussion around the septic hall maintenance and recreation ground maintenance moving forward, and nothing further to add.
You, Councillor Lee.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good report, very good meeting, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go to 11.2, Black Springs Hall Committee resignations. The recommendation is that council receive the resignation of Renee Barron as member of the Black Springs Hall Committee. 2, receive the resignation of Lincoln Briffer as member of the Black Springs Hall Committee. 3, receive the resignation of Michelle Swan as member of the Black Springs Hall Committee. 4, receive the resignation of Kerry Gibbons as member of the Black Springs Hall Committee. 5, receive the resignation of Lois Gibbons as member of the Black Springs Hall Committee. 6, thank all former members for their significant contribution to the Black Springs Hall Committee and the Black Springs community. 7, note the cancellation of the scheduled meeting on 19th of February 2026 due to the committee having no current memberships and being able to meet governance requirements. 8, request a further report outlining actions to promote and re-establish membership and the future operation of the committee. Can I have a motion, please? Yes, Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I would like to move the recommendation as it is, but also change part 6 to send a formal letter thanking the members. It's just doing that in
Can I say via a formal letter?
a, yes, please. But thank you, Sharon. Yes, that would be fine.
Okay, do you have a seconder? Who was the second? So who's Tucker?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind that.
You're gonna have a go.
All right, Councillor Tucker.
No further comment, Mr Mayor.
I haven't,
Councillor, yes.
I haven't finished, sorry, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to have that changed. And I just wanted to say that,
You needed a seconder before you start talking about it.
oh,
Got a second,
sorry.
now you're talking, right.
Sorry, Mr Mayor. Yes, I just wanted to say that over the past, term and a half that it's been working with the majority of the members of the committee. They've achieved a lot of work around the maintenance of the hall and put in a lot of, time and effort to make sure that the council's asset was thriving. And, I do hope that, moving forward, that the hall, we can put in an expression of interest moving forward. There's been a couple of people that are interested, but it is sad to see some of these members go from the hall. They have put in a lot of work, so I'm very appreciative of what they have contributed. Thank you.
Councillor Tucker,
Nothing to add, Mr Mayor.
any other discussion? Councillor O'Connor?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to put on the record that at the beginning of my council term, I accepted the appointment to the Black Springs Small Committee, as I live 6 kilometres away. And I'm relatively new to the area, as I keep being reminded. And I thought that would be a good interest and something I can enjoy. That wasn't to be. And on the 27th of April, I sent an email to Gary and I said, I recently attended a meeting of the Black Springs Hall as part, well, I go back a step. I too have resigned from this committee.
Okay,
On the 27th of April 25, I sent an email to Gary. I recently attended a meeting in the Black Springs Hall as part of the council's local and strategic planning community engagement. Throughout this meeting, I won't mention the councillor's name, continued to not listen to other community members and the convener. Towards the end of the meeting, a resident and her husband who made valuable contribution were told by the particular councillor that
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. That's not in relation to the hall committee.
it's not in relation to the hall committee, it's about former thing. I think point of order upheld.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not,
I'd just like to say, it's very disappointing that these community members have resigned. I said at the first meeting, as I was nominated to be council representative, I highly respect these people. I think they've got the interests of the community at heart. And I like to commend them for what they've done. All I see now is, where do we go from here?
okay,
So I need to, your guys' advice, the mayor and the councillor committee.
Councillor Lee, that's why point 8 is in there. Outline the actions to promote and re-establish the membership and future operation of the committee.
Yeah, well, if I can,
Right.
work on this tonight, or we.
No, it'll be a report back from staff to us. Okay, all right, I put the motion, all in favour? Now unanimous. Yep. At 11.3, Community Services Committee, 11th of December 2025. The recommendation council receive and note the minutes of the Community Services Committee held on 11th of December 2025. Do I have a motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Graham. Councillor Hayden. Thank you, Councillor.
Mr Mayor, I know you've all read the minutes, but I'd just like to comment on the presentation from the Irish Local Aboriginal Land Council in conjunction with Bottle Free House. It was a fairly grim part of the meeting, I must admit, talking about domestic violence and violence against women leading to homelessness. and there was quite a discussion on it. And the person who gave the presentation was very good and gave some good background to the issues. And it's something that the Community Services Committee will look into further, I'm sure. The Christmas event, obviously it happened, and it was great until it rained. But that was fine. It was still well worth doing, and it was good. And of course, the disability inclusion plan will be looked into the future.
Councillor Hayden?
Yes, I just wanted to thank the Community Services Committee for all the hard work that they've put in to the Christmas event that we had, because it was absolutely brilliant. We had, as our other councillor has stated, it was fantastic until the skies opened up. And we can't blame Kurt Booth for that, because he was just singing Purple Rain and then it happened. But it was an absolutely well-attended event. Everyone who went there enjoyed it. And I just wanted to thank everyone that assisted in that and everyone that attended, and it was brilliant. And as Councillor had alluded to with the other presentation from the local Wattle Tree House Aboriginal Land Council, that was a brilliant conversation piece that we had in that meeting as well. Thank you.
Councillor Hayden, any other discussion?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I enjoyed the party down the common very much, but there was some strife over the lights. Apparently some of the lights didn't work, and a contractor that donated their time got abused for them not working, and it was the lights' fault. The lights were inoperative, so I think we need to do something a little bit better and check them before we ask the contractor to donate their time, put them up and make sure that they actually did work prior to the contractor install them. Anyhow, but it was a good event.
Well, I think we can note that the Community Services Committee can note that, but I also attended the event and I thought it was a fantastic event, and I commend the Community Services Committee, the organisation right across the board. Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We go to 11.8, Water Risk and Improvement Committee meeting 10th December 2025. The recommendation is the Council receive and note minutes of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on 10th December 2025. 2. Receive and note the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee annual report. Councillor Everest, are you moving it? As per the recommendation, motion. Seconder, please. Seconder, Councillor Everest.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I just want to take a few minutes to just convey some of my rationale, I guess, behind the question I posed to Eric in general business. I mean, at the ARIC meeting, I requested consideration of a comprehensive external organisational review by an experienced local government consultant. This was basically prompted, by concerns I had over the council's long-term financial plan, in particular the growing structural, deficit. In the general fund, including the projected multi-million-dollar deficits, the STP funding gap, the deterioration of our roads, and a significant workforce retirement over the next 5 years. This was not a criticism, I guess, of staff, because they are clearly working hard. And this is recognised in the council's financial sustainability workshop last year. But rather, the ad hoc approach we have for different auditors, an integrated independent top-down review, organisational review would be a far more effective approach, I believe. Importantly, I noted several structural issues that were identified in the 2020 Morrison Lowe report and were highlighted 5 years later in the NAG plan hire audit, and in particular around supervision, quality control, asset management. There seems to be a lack of implementation, support and tracking. While ARIC agreed on the merits of my request, they considered a full review potentially too costly. Potentially too costly. They were sort of thinking of figures up to about $200,000. I believe the stage target model, a 3-stage target model, approximately $30,000 per stage, leveraging prior audit work. Could cost under $100,000 overall, and deliver long-term savings well in excess of that investment. Interestingly, we resolved as a council last year to proceed with a $400,000 CEUF, contribution, co-contribution grant for solar rollout program, which, would save us money, sometime in the future. But an integrated comprehensive review is not to be considered because it's too expensive, but, I'd like to save us a lot more money. So I don't get it, we are definitely going to face financial challenges going forward, and I'd rather be a little bit proactive than be a little bit reactive. So that's just my concern. It's just the ad hoc approach we have at the moment. I just think someone like Morrison Lowe, who actually are probably the top three of who can do structural reviews, someone like that would probably be very beneficial. I've seen this happen before. I've seen it in other organisations, and it does work.
You're going to put a notice of motion up to that effect?
Yeah.
I'm just asking because,
Well, I did say I was just going to discuss, my rationale behind it. That's the reason why
Councillor, sorry. You second? Oh, you second, sorry. Councillor
And nothing was added.
You're expecting me to.
Oh, anyone else? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously, thank you. We go to reports for information. 12.1 is the monthly activity report for General Manager for February 2026. The recommendation is the report item 14.1 is received information. Of a motion, please. Councillor McCarthy, seconder, please. Councillor Trembar, thank you. Councillor McCarthy.
Pretty straightforward report, Downie. I thought we're having a sports complex meeting. It's that scheduled soon to the general manager.
Yeah, and through the chair, I'll be engaging with sports, the working party imminently.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Trembar, yes.
Thank you for the report and no questions, nothing to add, thank you.
Councillor Hayden.
Yes, just under the arrow bullet work, health and safety and risk activities, a note that the second paragraph there, Bathurst Regional Security installed a panic alarm at the Oberon tip, and following on from electrical and internet upgrades at the tip, the panic alarm, etc. And also one and some panic buttons at the Oberon Library. Just wanted to get a little bit of an idea behind that. Is that just going to be a generic type thing these days, or has there been an incident where there's been a risk to staff in that manner, and a rough cost that was around that?
The risk to staff is because of how they work. It's called remote supervision. We need to look at that as part of our ongoing processes, which is why a risk mitigation is those types of buttons can go in there. They're not greatly expensive. I can provide the report back to council as to how much, but they're not hugely expensive and mitigate a risk when people are working in those remote locations by themselves.
Yeah, I understand that one about the tip having something accessible there. I was just wondering about the library and that panic button scenario there. And then if we talk about the remote security, remote work security type issues, is that going to be occurring with all outdoor stuff?
Through the chair, that's not our intent.
Okay.
And the libraries, because they operate outside what we would consider normal business hours. So they're still operational at 5:30 at night.
Okay, just on the under the recruitment section, project engineer, and we now have that completed, and they were commencing 2nd of February from the business papers.
Yes.
Cool. And has there been enough applicants for that Parks and Gardens position that was re-advertised?
Through the chair, we're constantly getting a number of applicants for these positions.
Yeah, because that one was re-advertised, that was all. So
Yeah.
that's open till the end of February again, isn't it? Okay. Thank you.
Any other councillors? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Move to 12.2, which is the monthly activity report, planning and development, February 2026. The recommendations report, item 12.2 is received information of a motion, please. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor McCarthy. Yes, Councillor Hayden.
Yes, happy to move the recommendation as it sits. I was going to ask a question under the DLUS, under this revised housing strategy master plan for the LGA. That's now updated on our have your say page. I did want to ask a question. That part 9 that was added, if I could, through the mayor to our planning director, was that part 9 developed separately, like always in-house, and then added at the end? Because it seemed other staff had known about that until, and then it was updated online afterwards. Was that already being developed, is what I'm trying to say?
Through the chair, when the original consultation was held, our council's consultant did advise those who attended them that the absence of the draft master plans in the documents were going to be updated at a later date, particularly the O'Connell master plan, draft master plans. There was an urban planner was involved with our consultant to undertake the draft master plans, and also they did them in-house.
Okay, because that part 9 of that housing strategy, when I was at the Black Springs and the Burriga and the Oberon meet, that wasn't mentioned at the time, and I'm glad it's up there now. Is February 27th going to be long enough for individuals to be putting their submissions in now, that with all those moving and the changes?
Through the chair, we're certainly getting significant submissions at the moment. If there are other submissions, or if members of the committee need extra time, that's something to be considered. Timeline is to bring a report back to council in March.
Okay.
With a submissions report, and then if council considers and adopts that, it would then go on exhibition again as the final draft document. There's another period of 28 days consultation down the track.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. And thank you for getting that done and getting that updated so that we could all refer to it, because you would have noticed my submission on there, because I'm not looking at something and there were no maps at all. So thank you.
Councillor McCarthy.
Nothing further.
Any other comments? Well, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go to 12.3.
Yes.
Not changing. Which is the monthly activity report, technical services, February 2026. The recommendations report 12.3 is received information of a motion, please. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor McCarthy, as per the recommendation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I did want to thank the Technical Services Director for being so prompt with my query that was sent through in regards to the Dillon Street, North Street hole in the path, and the King Street northern side that has been mowed now. And I just wanted to thank it and to thank the staff for all of that work. And I'm just wondering, like, I had sent the query before, and I understand that there's going to have to have a need for some significant work on the guttering and stormwater sections of some of the older portions in town. Going forward, would that be something that we need to look at through a working party committee meeting, or what do you think will be happening with that moving forward?
So through the chair, given the staff are having a look at the costing on that priority list, and it'll probably be one of those priorities we bring back to council as part of an IPNR discussion that we have with council around where we need to funnel appropriate funding to be able to deal with a number of these matters that have popped up. Let's go with that.
Okay, thank you.
Engineering excellence back in 1970, I am sure, but that's not currently something we can do with.
Councillor McCarthy.
Yeah, I'm happy with the report, the way it's written. Only, I was wondering whether the director could, see if we can pick up some of those advisory signs that are laying on the Losemount Road and probably no longer in use. And, yeah, it's just littering along Losemount Road and Albion Street with, signs that are outdated from the roadworks and that.
I think director's noting that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go to 12.4, monthly activity report, corporate service, February 2026. The recommendations report item 12.4 is received information. If I move it, please, the motion. Thanks, Councillor Hayden, seconder. Councillor O'Connor. Councillor Hayden, as per the recommendation.
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Yes.
Yes. I'd like to thank corporate services for this. Just around the cyber security. Yes. Thank you for your correspondence, Matt, in relation to that last pass that we're going to be dealing with. I'll do that tomorrow, but it's not something I'm very happy about, but I will inform. The DA tracker, I do want a little bit more information on. So by the end of February, it states that should be live on our website. Is that correct?
But through the chair, essentially the end of February, we'll finish the user acceptance testing, and then it'll be available to councils to take that next step to integrate into there. So I know it's a very top priority for us to push that as fast as we can. So it's just going through I haven't had an update in the last 2 days as to where that's been right out in testing mode yet, but that's the IT manager is very aware of our council's interest and all of us to get that happening as fast as possible.
Okay, cool. Just in relation to the community services side, did you want to give everyone a rundown on through the mayor, if you could comment on the Christmas event in the Commons?
Sure. Through the chair, I mean, this was, I guess everyone appreciates the thanks on behalf of the committee that was discussed with this event before. The committee will be meeting later this week to do that debrief component of that event and look at how we take this forward, this event going forward through a road closure or park related event. So we'll be starting our event planning on that meeting on Thursday this week.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, thank you.
Councillor Thumb.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Nothing for that.
If I could, just the planning portal and VA tracker. So if the functionality has been installed in the testing environment, are we happy with the functionality?
Through the chair, I don't believe we've, I need to confirm if that testing environment has been implemented yet. So I don't believe we've been testing at this point, but I haven't had an update in the last couple of days. So.
Just in relation to under 5 tourism economic development, I know destination New South Wales Central West. I noticed that the new Oberon Sports Complex was being spruiked on the ABC for potential league games the other day.
Yeah, through the chair, there's Destination Central West looking at sports tourism as a focus area to see what value add that can bring the region, and there's definitely an interest in some of the new facilities that Oberon will be having going forward. So we're definitely interested to see what opportunities might be over the short, medium, longer term.
And also, I think for schools at the Admiral Rec Ground,
That's right.
there's been some interest, yes.
That's correct.
Okay. Nothing further. I put the motion. Sorry, oh, Clyde. Sorry, councillor Carter.
Through you, Mr Mayor, to the director, the two new TVs, cameras, do they come back to this building, or they ones that you can download the information with the smart camera?
No, through the chair, these are integrated cameras that essentially communicate with our network. So they offer much greater vision, and they're on our network, so the access is not like some of the older ones that are down there that you need to Bluetooth into. So it gives us a lot more functionality and coverage down there. So it's much improvement to what's down there before.
So if we have an incident down there, whether they come to review it back to the council, James?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. So that obviously our CCTV policy would dictate who views those and those types of things, but they would just report that to us, and we can, the authorised people can review the footage here and assist police or what other inquiries are happening.
Thank you.
Nothing further. I put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 12.5 investments December, January 2025-26. Recommendation of report item 12.5 is received information or a motion, please. Councillor Leveris, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Graham, thank you. Councillor Leveris.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, the only thing I can say if looking at this is that I look at the monies that are involved here, and you think they're involved with projects that have been delayed for one reason or another. So the escalating delivery costs are far outweigh the interest we receive. But nevertheless, it's better than nothing at all.
Yep. Councillor Graham.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. It's good to see that the return we're getting is still better than the average rate.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, I put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go. 12.6 grants update December, January 2025-26. Recommendation report item 12.6 is received information of a motion. Thank you, Councillor Hayden. Councillor O'Connor. Thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I'm happy to move the recommendation. One of the part B in there, the New South Wales government responsible gambling club grants. That's a bit concerning if we have to do a dollar for dollar contribution to that one. I do hope that we're successful in part A and not part B. Dollar for dollar is a bit scary. Also, the Veterans Affairs one, did Oberon Council do that on behalf of the BDCA, or is that just Oberon Council's grant one? For saluting the service for the stonework out at Rowerdale.
Through the chair, we're definitely aware of the intentions of the committee out there, and are looking at any opportunity we can to supplement.
Thank you. And has there been any update to any of the pending status of the grants? They're still pending.
Yeah, through the chair, as outlined there, I have no late update for you on those.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, Mr Mayor, through you, question to the director. If you may or can provide an insight how other councils are handling this position, with obviously a contracting availability of funds. Is there any feedback you can give us? Is it turning, or is it?
Through the chair, our neighbouring councils are experiencing the same things as us, but we have heard, offline channels that this may be starting to turn with some, different cycles in governance and things that potentially may be some change coming. So we're trying to be as well placed as we can when those, particularly for those bigger, more fulfillment based grants that help us with, workforce and infrastructure. So we're ready, but we have heard that this potentially starting to turn, but we've not seen anything to indicate that yet. Thank you.
Anything else? Donna put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 12.7 status report February 2026. Recommendations report 12.7 was received information. Motion, Councillor Connor, seconder. Councillor Graham, thank you. Councillor Connor.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just a good report. It's an excellent report for us councillors. There's one item there I'd just like to discuss. And it sort of goes towards some of the processes that we seem to be following that seem to be, I was going to say, time wasting, inefficient, inappropriate, not good procedure. So it's item 13.3. It's the request was forwarded the establishment of a taxi range. This happened over 12 months ago. And what happened when that came in? Some of the councillors, there was a flurry of emails about their opinion where it should go. And again, I'm just trying to, from my perspective, it's not our job to jump in and say, I think it should go here, I think it should go there. To her credit, our director tried to weave together an appropriate response, but really on the back of something that shouldn't have happened. There was an application made that went to council. I mean, that should then, I guess, go to our director. The director would then give it to the roads and traffic, and it would work through. But because those flurry of emails and then subsequent flurry of emails, and what we've ended up now is with a proposal for a 3-month trial, which now it's been potentially a 30-kilometre restriction. And it was always going to happen. Like, I'm sitting back 12 months ago looking at what was happening. Our director was trying to do the best she could, but we've now ended up in this position with the 3-month trial that we've agreed on, and then potentially a 30-kilometre restriction. I think we have to step back sometime, or us councillors, and let our council staff do their job. Because here we are. The main thing for me in business, I mean, apart from what I've just said, we've got someone coming to town investing a taxi rank. Like, we need one. And we need a taxi. And here we are 12 months later. I mean, we have to have a hard, cold look at this. It's only a very minor matter, but then again, it's not, because in my mind, I've always treated every matter the same, whether they're small or whether they're big. Whether you treat them all the same, you treat people the same. And I just want to restate, this should be a case study on how us councillors shouldn't behave. And there's recently been another example of this in email exchanges on council emails. It's the same sort of thing happening. We've got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Graham. Councillor.
Yes, as another councillor has alluded to, that taxi rank was an issue I was going to bring up in the status report. However, I'll email that because I do have some in-depth discussion around that and a way that we may be able to eliminate the need for the taxi rank being behind and instead incorporate into the Act has a requirement there that it can be a shared zone, and it just means that some signage might have to get changed. So I'll send that through. It's just a suggestion, and I'll CC the technical services director into it. It just may be a way that can minimise some of those problems, which was a little bit of oversight in a governance perspective that maybe we should have looked at that a little bit more thorough at that point in time. Now, this item in here, 1.9 residential land development, I note that it's been a bit of a roller coaster, hasn't it? And it's now landed in the mapping in the housing strategy. There's quite a lot of maps in there. There'd be some very small blocks of land if any of those maps were were used, around 400 square metres, which I don't think Oberon has that in its development control plan of 400 metres. I think we're 6 or 8, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's general manager.
So through the chair, yeah, the current
Yeah.
minimum lot size within the village zone is 800 square metres.
Yeah.
But it's very clear from your community and from all the engagement is that people are looking for a variety of lot sizes, and that's what the
Not completely, but
well,
Not
that's what sorry, from the information I've received from the housing strategy and the documents within that, it says to me that that's a myriad of lot sizes is something that we should be considering. In terms of the development that you mentioned, is that there could be opportunities for us to look at that in terms of if it was to be reduced and more lots could be created, or it's a zone as highlighted within the housing strategy. Might be something that's beneficial for council. So they're the things we just need to look at. But those decisions will be ones that'll be directed to council for their determination. So be prepared that this conversation will be one that's going to be had when we start looking at an amended LEP.
just on 23rd, 12th, 19, 10-1 Black Springs land, I do note your comment at the end of that this now become frustrating. It's considered this action's no longer required. Will that fall off this status report because it's been a bit higgledy-piggledy on there? It hasn't really been needed for a period of time. So will that be just removed, closed?
Through the chair, for the time being, that's what we're proposing to do. It's not necessarily removing the resolution because the resolution would stay.
The resolution's obsolete.
At this point in time, we're not being told by any of the telcos that that's where their new option would be under this round 8 funding. So I agree, but we're all frustrated by it because there was a way forward that the government decided not to take, which is a little bit of a
the resolution, it was around acquisition, and I don't think it needs to be there anymore. So, if there's something that needs to be done to remove that resolution, let me know. It was one of mine. Because I think it's taking up space sitting in the status report when there's more important things that could be in that status report, and that could be removed. And any other queries, I will send an email through. I've highlighted a few. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just got one query on page 383, just below halfway down the page. It refers to a motion that Councillor Hayden put up back in November to establish community Q&A and councillor workshop. I'm certainly not proposing to discuss the merits or otherwise of that at the moment. My point is that council resolved to defer consideration of it until after the model code of meeting practice had been endorsed. It has now been endorsed. I had thought that might come back to today's meeting. It hasn't. But I note that it's now marked as matter closed, and that's not correct. We haven't dealt with that. So I'm simply asking that the matter closed be changed back to in progress and that it remain in this status report until we do consider it. And I hope that will be next month.
And through the chair, council held a session with Kath Roach that talked about all these things. The matter around being closed was purely because unless council have a different opinion to staff, it's very clear that these things can't continue. And which is why we closed the matter out on the back of the workshop that you held on the how do you move forward with the code of meeting practice. In saying that, staff will be looking at ways in which we better engage, and that will be brought forward in the near future. That's the reason why it was closed out.
Yeah. If Can I
Yes, Councillor
carry
Taylor.
on? Yeah, well, I certainly didn't hear that in the session with Kath Roach. I think there could still be ways that it could be done, possibly not exactly as was originally proposed, but that's the purpose of bringing it back to council, as we decided to do, and having that debate. And if anybody suggests something that would be contrary to the code, well, we get the advice, no, you can't do that, but we still have to complete that item by considering it as we decided we were going to do.
So you want to consider it, but if we determine that it's inappropriate under the model code of community practice.
Sure. And if staff at the same time come back with other ideas of how communication can be improved, that can be done at the same time. But I don't think it should be marked as matter closed when we haven't actually dealt with it.
Any other issues, Councillor Levis?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you to the General Manager, just item 12.1, page 385. Just any more info on the contract? Are you into it?
Through the chair, we've received that support through the Sports Facilities Committee that there is absolutely support for that sort of stuff. We definitely haven't had any opportunity to progress that through any funding mechanism. There are options that others are considering, and we'll talk at that at the next Sports Facilities Committee, I'm sure. And then that will maybe be brought back to council, including what an appropriate location and what that looks like. So I think there's additional information that we need to, in fact, have some clarity over. But my intent would be to run that through the Sports Advisory Committee to start with, and then bring that back to council.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor McCarthy.
Just a query, I see Councillor O'Connor's frustration with the taxi rank thing, but I'm a bit bewildered. I see the taxi rank being operated out of Rudders Ridge Road, so I don't think we need to take any action, because the taxi's forward for some days, sideways at the gateway, and then backwards. So to allocate a spot in town and take up valuable parking when it's been operated at Rudders Ridge,
That's where the chair, it's a resolution of council there, progressing and take the.
We can't help where it parks. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Obviously, you're catching the taxi or what?
No, don't do the Rudders Ridge.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I put motion that report 12.7 has received information. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 12.8 is questions taken on notice at the previous council meeting. The recommendations report 12.8 has received information. The responses noted. Motion, please. Councillor Hayden, Councillor McCarthy. Thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I'm happy to receive the recommendation. Will this get emailed to Irene? Bishop?
I thought it was on the website.
It's through the chair. The question was come through council as a motion. So as we previously said in this, is that we wanted to make any response public. So it is available to that particular person. I'm more than happy to provide that to her in the essence that we provided to councils of the community now.
Before I go, I just wanted to say, making it available, publicly available on the website. I understand that's going to be in the minutes or in a council papers. Will there be a section on the Have You Say page, like we previously discussed, where these questions taken at meetings or taken on notice, where they're going to be published on the website or on the Have You Say page at any point in time?
Through the chair, they're published through a business paper for the community to see. We hadn't looked at expanding that to the Have Your Say website, because it's not a Have Your Say platform. The Have Your Say would generally create a back and forth, and that's not what the intent for that these types of things are. I thought council was comfortable with providing a report back based on if someone has come into the council chambers to ask a question, the optimum thing to do is respond to it in the way we have. Councillor McCarthy,
Nothing more to add.
any other discussion? Not, I put the motion, all in favour? 4.9, 100-year anniversary O'Connell Avenue of Trees. The recommendation is that council support the request made by the O'Connell Community Guardians of the O'Connell Anzac Memorial Avenue of Trees to complete the Anzac installation with the permanent structures, 6 times signs, 1 times pink granite rock with plaque and 1 times desert ash tree on the area outlined within the existing master plan. 2, be provided with updates on the installation progress for the Anzac Memorial. Another motion. Thank you, Councillor Tremblay. Second, Councillor O'Connor. Councillor Tremblay.
Thank you. I move the motion in 2 parts. So the installation of the signage tree and rock will be the centerpiece of the 100-year celebration, and it ties together 100 years ago. An O'Connell community raised money for the trees to be planted, few dances and various things, and 100 years later, this year, the O'Connell Valley Community Group continues their work and dedication to preserving the historical significance, one of the few surviving First World War memorials in rural New South Wales. And they're doing similar things, so raising money with the monster meat raffle at the pub, getting work done in kind. So the Village Fund money is absolutely just for the signs. Everything else is, as I said, through donations or in-kind support. And they just want to see this piece of the requiem finished because it's actually on the master plan. And the only structures that are permanent are the signage, the tree and the rock, whilst at the actual opening of the celebration, there are a few other things, some of the banners that they put up, the children put up every year with the names of those who went to war, recognising those who didn't come back. So that will be there as well. So thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A question to Damien, our Director, Review. Damien, I see on the status update, the heritage listing of the memorial. And I was just wondering whether it's possible to get an update on that, and also whether it's possible to, wouldn't it be great if that was picked and becomes heritage listing prior to the 100-year anniversary? So is there some way we can lean on someone or send a letter or?
Through the chair, the Department of Planning does infrastructure, so it's in their hands.
I think there's a comment, if I might, in the monthly activity report planning and development. It says the amendment is on track to be made prior to the extended time frame of 6th of March 2026. That's still the case?
That's correct.
So they're aware of the 100-year anniversary coming up?
So they have been advised, yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion, Councillor Hayden?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the O'Connell community on the 100-year and work that they've been doing for the 100-year anniversary. I did want to correct a little bit of misgiving that it's only one of a few First World War memorials. There's 328 in New South Wales, avenues of trees. And we are one of 128 in the Centre West. So it is a significant one because we're the only desert ash, of course, and being planted to celebrate those within the empire that went to war. And it is significant. Yes, I also have family members, as does many others in Oberon, that served from there, and I really hope it's going to be an exceptional day. And that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the council staff for the mowing of the avenue on Monday. Beautiful job. So thank all concerned. Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Yes.
Just one other, and thank you, everyone. Both RSL Bathurst and RSL Oberon are heavily involved in all of this. And the other thing is just to show how invested they are. There was a grant applied for trimming all the suffering off the trees. That didn't come through. So $2,500 was contributed by O'Connell Valley, and volunteers supported Agile Arbor to do the work. So it's big community effort.
And there'll be a decent audience. Thank you very much. All in favour, put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 13, there's no urgent business has been brought to my attention. 14, closed session confidential reports. In accordance with the Local Government Act 1993 and the Local Government General Regulations 2005, in the opinion of the General Manager, the following business of the kind is referred to in section 10A2 of the Act and should be dealt with in a part of the meeting closed to the media and the public. The item is 14.1, weed spraying contractor update. Could I have someone to move us into confidential, please? Councillor Hayden, seconded Councillor Leveris. All in favour? Could we cease the recording, please? Thank you. And Mr. Gallery, please leave. Thank you, everyone. We're back in open council. During the confidential section of the meeting, item 14.1, weed spraying contractor update. The following motion was moved by Councillor O'Connor and seconded by Councillor Hayden and was passed. The Council 1, rescind motion 30 of 18th of November 2025. 2, establish a roadside weed spraying contractor panel comprising House Agriculture and Central Tablelands Weeds Authority for the program ending 31st December 2026. 3, allocate the initial work program across the panel with an estimated total cost in the range of 120,000 to 150,000 based on a shared delivery across the 300-kilometre network. 4, that any proposed expenditure exceeding this range be reported back to Council prior to contract execution or further allocation of work. 5, review the performance of both contractors at the end of the program. Resolution was carried. Votes for: Councillor Leveris, Councillor Hayden, Councillor O'Connor and Councillor Trembath and Councillor McCarthy. Against: Councillor Lee and Councillor Tucker. It was noted that Councillors McKibben and Graham absented themselves from the room and did not vote due to the issues raised at the beginning of the meeting re potential conflict of interest or conflict of duty. I note that the next ordinary council meeting of Oberon Council will be held on the 17th of March 2026, commencing at 5:30 p.m. in the Oberon Council Chambers, 137 Oberon Street, Oberon, and will be preceded by a public forum. The Mayor and I now declare this meeting closed at 8:47 p.m. Thank you, councillors and members of the public.